Hi everybody, this is Thankful Thursday.
Welcome along. I'm Kristina.
And I'm Audrie, and this is Yoga to Transform.
We're so pleased that you're joining us.
Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, so today we're talking about,
the breath. And we've been reading this book by James Nestor.
And we love it.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the fact that we do love breathing.
Yes, we do love breathing, don't we? Yeah.
No life without breaths.
But it's been really interesting for me as I've been reading the book to be and we pay attention to the way we breathe.
We do.
Because it's such a part of yoga. It's such an important part of yoga. But it was quite interesting for me to be reading the book and then paying even more attention to the way that I breathe and thinking, oh goodness, I thought that I breathed in through my nose, out through my nose as part of the course, but I don't.
Yeah, well, I was walking up the hill today with friends and I thought, oh, I'm breathing through my mouth. Oh, well, I'll try breathing through my nose. Actually, it was pretty hard because it was a really reasonably steep bit of the hill, but yeah, I could do it for 2 breaths maybe, and then I had to open my mouth. And it's interesting because this chappie, he did an experiment, and that's the first part of the book, his experiment, where he went through terrible pain and trauma almost to do 10 days either way, wasn't it?
Yeah, so 10 days breathing through the mouth first.
So he had stuff poked up his nose, taped shut, so there's no way, day, night,
Yep, he didn't.
showers, eating, anything.
Always through his mouth, and then 10 days breathing through his nose. And they took all kinds of measurements every single day around blood pressure, heart rate, how much they slept, how much snoring they did, sleep apnea.
Yep, and how the other minerals and things were happening, you know, what kind of metabolism was happening in their system.
Yeah, their fitness. They did fitness, like cycling every day, so they ate the same meal every day. Everything was exactly the same the 10 days they were breathing through the mouth, and then they replicated the same 10 days breathing through the nose.
To the extent they actually taped their mouths shut. Look, we're really pleased he did it because we don't want to.
No, exactly. But the interesting thing was that he got his statistics deteriorated while he was breathing through the nose. Both of them started snoring almost immediately.
When he was breathing through the mouth.
Yeah, breathing through the mouth. That's right. Sorry, breathing through the mouth. Yeah, deteriorated. They started experiencing sleep apnea.
Yep, their snoring was terrible. They didn't feel very well.
They didn't sleep very well.
They were getting headaches. All their blood pressure and things were going in the wrong direction. So their blood pressure was rising. Their pulse rate was rising. They weren't resting well.
Their obviously that first week, the first 10 days was breathing through the mouth. So when they went to breathing through the nose on the cycling that they did every day, their fitness improved by 10%. They went further and felt better. So there you go.
Yeah.
So,
and then the second half of the book, and we do encourage you to read it if you get a chance to get a copy of it or find it on Kindle.
Yeah.
The second half of the book is just James Nestor is actually a journalist more than a science researcher. He's just interested in it because he just felt that he had some issues. And so the second part of the book is where he goes through chapter by chapter and looking at the different aspects of breathing from the nose. I'm just going to have a look down at here. Nose, the inhale, whether you should be breathing slow or fast, whether you should be breathing more or less. He also went into the shape of the mouth and how you chew your food.
and how that affects your ability to breathe through your nose. So because we're chewing less, we eat very soft processed foods, and thousands of years ago we didn't. We were chewing about 4 hours a day. That's affected, well, apparently we've got now crooked teeth as a phenomenon of not chewing enough, but also it's affected the way that the nasal cavity is created, which means it's even harder to breathe through the nose. So evolutionary,
especially because we've also got a bigger brain.
Yeah.
So the brain's taking up a bit more space, so it's reduced the amount of capillaries and things in your nose and in your sinuses. So from an evolutionary point of view, you know, we're on the kind of back foot already.
Yeah, exactly. So we haven't got enough space in our mouths or in our heads to have the breathing apparatus that we need from our noses.
But it's not all bad news.
No, it's not, because it's actually, the interesting thing is it appears that it's all reversible. Like
Absolutely.
if you are a mouth breather and you start being a nose breather, you can start benefiting from those health benefits that he and his fellow experimentee gained. But also too, if you have a small mouth, like the thinking was that actually your bones stop growing at age 30, but apparently not. If you want to get into chewing,
or go and get your teeth straightened as an adult,
or even your mouth broadened, because there's a lot of broadening that's happening as in this book.
It's not too late.
Your jaw keeps growing and moving till you're 70, probably and beyond.
Yeah. And so...
and that's probably because it's so important, right? That part of you needs to...
Yeah.
That's where everything comes in and goes out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why we're pretty excited about this, because we, as yogis, you know, and if you've seen our Thankful Thursday, you know that we're pretty enthusiastic about breathing, pranayama, and the life force that comes in and goes out as you're breathing. We sort of knew this in some of these things on an intuitive level, but it's so good to sort of get the research behind it. That's kind of from a scientific biological point of view at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's some things around, you know, take a deep breath in. Well, actually, it's just about more important to take a deep breath out.
The exhalation, yeah. But they teach that in yoga. The exhalation is so important.
That's right.
And you should extend it.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, we're really, you know, those Indian gurus from thousands of years ago knew what they were on about. And maybe, what am I looking down? So maybe hold your breath, which of course is something else that we practice in yoga.
Absolutely. And even, so in yoga we're taught you measure your life by the number of breaths you have, not the number of minutes and all of that. And that apparently we all have a certain number of breaths assigned at birth. And so we can extend our life by extending our breaths, right?
Yeah, and so through some research, you know, they found that maybe 5.5 breaths a minute.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure how fast you breathe. I usually count 8 breaths if I'm trying to do a restorative something or other in yoga, but actually I've found that actually it should probably be around 7 breaths. So when I slow my breath down, 7 breaths in a minute. But the optimal breathing rate is around 5.5 breaths a minute.
And learning to hold your breath, so there's that, so slowing down your breath, which is going from 10 breaths to 5.5 or maybe 7 like Audrie has, but learning to hold your breath as well, because we're over oxygenated because we're breathing too much, and our system actually needs that carbon dioxide in it, so we need to be holding our breath and allowing a build-up of carbon dioxide, and there's a whole lot of health benefits apparently from that too.
So hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Fast, slow, and not at all. That's another chapter towards the end. What else have we done? So more sometimes. So obviously improve, you know, having a faster and getting more oxygenation at some stages is good for you as well.
Yeah, well, that breath of fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the breath of fire, and that's kind of what Wim Hof teaches as well, is the breath of fire. So Wim Hof is the he's the Iceman. He's known as the Iceman. So he teaches pranayama to people, or breathing techniques to people, so that they can sit in buckets of ice for hours if they so please. But it's interesting because I remember, now I'm tangenting, but there's a point to this. I remember reading Autobiography of a Yogi and some other yoga books where it says one of the outcomes of the yoga practice, and this is more the pranayama and the meditation, etc., is you become impervious to heat and cold.
Okay.
And at that point in my life, I would get incredibly bad frozen fingers and frozen toes because circulation wouldn't get to the periphery of my body.
Okay.
And I really suffered in any form. Like, I really believed I would die of freezing coldness.
That's a technical term.
That was my, I lived in fear of dying of freezing coldness.
Wow.
But it's interesting, through the practice of yoga, I'm not afraid of dying of freezing coldness. Like my fingers and toes don't freeze up like ice blocks anymore.
Yeah, wow. Because the other, I was thinking about the activation that Tony Robbins does in the beginning, and you know, and when you're maybe looking at us later in the year, we're going to do some a Thankful Thursday about setting up your 5 a.m. routine. But you know, the idea of actually breathing in. Okay, so really pumping the breath in and out is quite warming and enlivening for the body, isn't it?
Yes. So the breath of fire is great for winter and very enlivening, but it is that pumping and maybe there's actually on our YouTube channel, if you look it up, there is a breath of fire.
There is, that's right.
There's a breath of fire tutorial, so go check it out.
Yeah. So it's a great book. It's a great read. It's an easy read. He's you know, writes in a really engaging manner. So if you've been inspired, definitely do this, and certainly check out some of the other things that we're doing around breathing, pranayama, breath of fire, those kind of things. Of course, we've got our Facebook group, Facebook pages, social media as well with Instagram.
Yeah.
And more things on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just check it out. Don't forget to subscribe.
Like and comment.
And
if you really like it, share it with your friends.
That's right. We'll see you next time.
Thanks
Keep
for
breathing.
Us. Yeah, exactly. Namaste.
Namaste.